Hi there, welcome to episode 178 of the WaveBack Music Podcast. My name is Chris.
And I'm Matt.
And we're here to listen to the most interesting video game music there is. The month of October has dawned on us once again, and as such, we must. Sorry, I wrote this really late last night. We must continue our annual tradition of playing our way through the Castlevania series. This year, we've landed on what many consider to be one of the very best games in the franchise, and one that's left a lasting impression on the series as a whole. Prepare your ears for some cool NES game remixes, because tonight we listen to the music of Castlevania Rondo of Blood for the PC Engine Super CD-ROM 2. Well, hi, Matt.
Hi, Chris.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, pass.
Okay.
I'm okay. I'm all right. It's cool. It's all right.
I'm fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah. We're officially in October, but it hasn't really felt like spooky season yet around here. Mostly because it's been like 85 degrees and stuff. But today and yesterday, we're moving and we're shifting in that direction. I'm hoping to get all of our Halloween decorations up within the next day or two, and start listening to some Castlevania music starting tonight.
Yeah, I love this annual tradition. This and the spooky special. I'm kind of partial.
Yes, well, they are definitely your bag of tea, as it were, and
yes, sir.
I rather enjoyed them too. I was up last night because I couldn't sleep, so I wound up writing the script for this last night, and also working on some stuff for the spooky special. I think I've got the playlist hammered out. Obviously, if you have any tracks to contribute, throw them my way, and we will do it that way. But yeah, I think I've got enough out of the gate to cover us if necessary. Nice.
Awesome. I'm excited. I'll let you know, but chances are you're the guy.
That's what I'm told. I am told I'm the guy. I've been told that before, and I'll be told it again. But anyway, we're here to talk about Castlevania. We're here to talk about Rondo of Blood, which we were almost going to do last year before I realized that there was a whole other Castlevania game that I forgot about. And we wound up covering that one, the Akumajo Dracula for the X68000, which was pretty fun. But Rondo of Blood, this is one of those games. This is one of the big ones. This is a beefy one in the pantheon of Castlevania games. So, to that I say, Matt.
Yes, sir.
Hit us with some history.
Castlevania Rondo of Blood was released for the PC Engine Super CD-ROM 2 exclusively in Japan on October 29th, 1993 as Akumajo Dracula X Chino Rondo. It serves as one of the most pivotal points in the overall Castlevania lore, introducing characters Richter Belmont and Maria Renard, as well as establishing art direction and sprites that the series would maintain for years. As the story goes, Dracula has been resurrected once again, and he's kidnapped a woman named Annette, who just happens to be the love interest of one Richter Belmont, the current owner of the legendary vampire killer Whip. Richter ventures into Castlevania to reclaim his lost love and put an end to Dracula's evil once and for all. The game garnered critical acclaim, but as the system it was created for had little to no footprint outside of Japan, where even there it was relatively niche, it remained...
was downright Shatnerian.
What did you call me? It remained largely unplayed until it was finally brought to the West on the PSP and the Wii Virtual Console services in 2007 and 2010, respectively.
This game's score is attributed to Akira Shoji, Kaizo Nakamura, Tomoko Sano, and Mikio Saito. Shoji's other works include games in the... Sorry, I'm paying attention to two screens at once because I'm a degenerate. Shoji's other works include the titles in the Dance Dance Revolution series, Snatcher, Sparkster, and Contra Hardcore. Nakamura's other works include Snatcher, Moon Remix. Sano's other works include We Play Motion, Dylan's Rolling Western, and Paper Mario Sticker Star, not Sicker Star. While Saito's resume includes Tecmo Bowl, Solomon's Key, and Thundercross 2. So, Matt, what is your history with this lovely game?
I actually have not played this one, and that's it. No, wow. I was double checking the Castlevania Anniversary Collection, and I had a sneaking suspicion that it wasn't on there, and that's really the only way I would have played it. When I had my Wii, I never checked it out, and I never owned a PSP. So yeah, this is kind of where my part of the segment ends.
My personal history is a little bit more involved than yours.
I'm sure of it.
So what happened with me in this game is I was a humongous fan of Castlevania. Really, we've been over this. We've been talking about Castlevania for years. God, how many of these have we done so far? Now that I'm like, we got to be coming up on, we're coming up on our 10th spooky special. So we must have been doing Castlevania for a long time. Anyway, regardless, I was a big Castlevania fan. I had heard about this game in Electronic Gaming Monthly and was working at Funko Land, and I was able to purchase off of a customer a Turbo Duo. With hopes of eventually tracking down this game. So I got the Turbo Duo, but I was never able to track down the game. Not for any sort of even vaguely reasonable price, because even back then, getting import Turbo Duo games wasn't the easiest thing for everyone to do. Either way, this is... I lost my place. All right, so... It wasn't super easy to get the game, and therefore I was never able to actually get one for myself, which made me sad. But I always wanted to play it. Then it released on the PSP, but I didn't pick up I did pick up the PSP one, but the trouble was that you had to play through, in order to play the original version, you had to play through the 3D remake, and I didn't want to do that.
It's weird.
Like you could unlock the original flavor, and it was effectively the same game. It was just remade, but I wanted to play it in its original form, and I certainly didn't want to play it on a PSP. I wanted to play it on television. So, fortunately, shortly thereafter, in 2010, it showed up on the Wii Virtual Console, and that's where I finally played it. And it's a legendary game, right? It has been built up as this like lost masterpiece because we got here in the US, we got Castlevania Dracula X for Super Nintendo, which is, it's weird because it's almost like it's supposed to be a Super NES port of this game, but it's most definitely not a port of this game. Like it's very different in so very many ways. It's a really, really weird release, but the soundtrack is phenomenal. And it's also almost the exact same soundtrack that's on this, except with different instruments, because this is running on a CD-based system as opposed to Dracula X being a Super Nintendo game. So either way, this game had been built up for a very long time. I'm a very big fan of Dracula X. I think it's a very cool game. This game did not grab me. Not that it was bad by any stretch of the imagination, but as I was playing through it, I don't know. It didn't do it for me in the way that everyone had claimed that it would have. I do think this game's import only status has caused it to be dramatically overrated.
Right.
Which isn't to say that this is a bad game, not by a long shot. This is a very, very good Castlevania game. I just don't think it's quite the mythical beast that a lot of people make it out to be. And there are a lot of games that this happened to back in the old days, back when we wouldn't get games on digital shops that we could just import easily. It would always be these like wonderful, mystical Japanese only games that they got that we didn't. They were so much better than anything that came out over here because there was nobody could prove that they weren't. They just kind of got built up. There's this hype levels behind them. So anyway, Rondo of Blood's a very good game. It's just not, I don't think it's the unmitigated masterpiece that Symphony of the Night is, because this Rondo of Blood does lead directly into Symphony of the Night. It's Symphony is a direct sequel. It's just this one plays more like your classic action-based Castlevania is like going through stages, whereas Symphony of the Night is more of a Metroid-style game. So it's an interesting thing. That's my personal history with this game. I think it's very good. I do want to give it another shot. Playing it on the Wii Virtual Console was very good. I wish they would release this on any other freaking platform. Konami has this weird thing where Symphony of the Night in particular has never been on a Nintendo platform, and I can't think of a single reason for that to be the case. It's utterly mystifying to me, because every other Castlevania game has, just about, and it's with Rondo. Rondo has been on Nintendo platforms. Obviously, it was on the Wii Virtual Console, but the current iterations of Symphony and Rondo is called Castlevania Requiem, I think, and that's only on PlayStation. Which, again, what are we doing here, guys? Like, what is the deal with this not coming to other platforms? Anyways, we should get to work. We've got some excellent music to listen to, and I think we should get started. Are you ready?
I'm always ready for some Castlevania.
I'm ready to kick off the spooky season properly because I'm itching. I'm itching to get into the vibe and get everything all. There's lots of houses in my neighborhood that they've had their Halloween decorations up since halfway through September, which I'm not cool with. But to each their own. To each their own. Anyways, our first track is called Divine Bloodlines. This is one of the things about the Rondo of Blood soundtrack is it is probably about 50% remakes of older songs. And I'm probably exaggerating that quite a bit, but there's a lot of old Castlevania tunes that are remixed for this game, and they're remixed just phenomenally well. But this is like the title track for Rondo of Blood. This is like, I guess, a song that's associated with Richter Belmont. So here's Divine Bloodlines. Turn up the volume because the song kicks ass. Enjoy. And there we have Divine Bloodlines. I love that song. Love that song. It's such a good... So here's my thing. I think I forgot to mention this in my personal history with this game is I played the heck out of Dracula X like way before I played this game, right? Because Dracula X came out on Super Nintendo around when this game came out. I think it was like 96, 97, I think Dracula X came out. Either way, I played a bunch of it when it first came out. So I am very used to that game's soundtrack, which is excellent. And again, this exact song is in there, but it's using different instrumentation. So I'm super used to that soundtrack. So this one here is like, it's weirdly off-putting to me hearing the same song with different instruments and stuff, but it's still really good. It's just an outstanding song. It doesn't hit the that kind of bendy, I don't know if bendy's the right word, that kind of bouncy guitar in the beginning is not hit quite as hard as it is in the Super Nintendo version, which I don't know which version I like better, to be perfectly honest. But either way, great song. What do you think?
Oh, no questions. This is a fantastic track. I love the sound quality of this system right away.
Good old 90s CD music is so freaking good. Oh, I love it. I love it.
I know it's almost like an unfair advantage, I guess in the grand scheme of things, but I really do love the sound quality of this. The instrumentation just it sings. It just sounds so full and rich, and it's great. It's really, really great. The track itself, fantastic. I have yet to really hear a Castlevania song that I don't like. I think that's like I don't know. I think that's a reoccurring thing for me. This is very rare. Beautiful track. I loved it though. I think it's that crazy place between expected horror music, right? Expected creepy, expected spooky, and then it intersects at crossroads with Japanese pop, but like in the best possible way. It's a really good track. I love it.
Well said. Yeah, it does have like it does kind of skirt that line for like falling into those kind of tropes of like, I guess, Castlevania-ish music, but it's so goddamn good it doesn't matter. I guess is the word of the phrasing I was looking for. Anyway, yeah. Love this song. Love it to death. This is the first stage in the game. Everything's on fire. Just fire everywhere. Now you mentioned that you had the Castlevania collections. I think it's the second one. Yeah, the second one, the Advanced Collection. That for some reason has Dracula X on it for Super Nintendo. No idea why. Have you played that one?
Which one, Dracula X?
Yeah.
Yes, but not in the collection.
Oh, okay. So you are familiar. You're going to be familiar with this game's music because it's all the same music,
right?
Just obviously sounding different. So just like in Dracula X, the first stage is just everything's on fire. Except what's super cool about Rondo of Blood in specific that you don't really pick up on in Dracula X is that the town that's on fire is the town from Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest. Like, it looks just like the 8-bit game, but like they added enough color to it to make it look 16-bit. But it's literally the town from Simon's Quest burning in flames, which is kind of awesome. So that's neat. But anyway, so this is the first stage. So the next song that we're going to listen to is the boss music, because there's a boss at the end of the first stage. And in the Super Nintendo game, God, I can't remember how the bosses are different in Rondo of Blood. But in Dracula X, that first boss is this like super cool 2-headed panther monster. But anyway, this is the great boss music. It's called Dark Desires. Ooh, enjoy. right, that's Dark Desires. Nothing says good boss music quite like some timpani, you know?
Yes.
It's very appropriately epic music. It sounds wonderful, ever so slightly manic. It's this great boss music. Very epic.
Yeah, it has enough of the as you pointed out, the timpani. It has enough of that sort of instrumentation to give it the weight it needs to have to denote, hey, you're fighting a boss, you know. Great stuff though. I mean, again, never met a Castlevania track I didn't like.
Yeah, as far as boss music goes, this is pretty interesting because if memory serves, a lot of boss music in Castlevania games isn't quite this overtly intense. At least in Castlevania games leading up to this, like there was a bunch of timpani in the Super Castlevania 4 boss music, but it was less manic than this one. Whereas you think of something like Poison Mind from the first Castlevania, like it's a little bit more. I don't know if droning's the right word, but this is this is so orchestral, right? This is just such a just sweeping orchestral piece. I think it's marvelous. But speaking of the original Castlevania, here we get our first proper remix of an old Castlevania tune, and it's the Castlevania tune. This is Vampire Killer. It's the Castlevania tune. It's the first song from the first game. And this, I mean, if I'm being perfectly honest, the Super Nintendo version I do personally prefer over this one, but this is also right there next to it as far as just being one of the very best remixes of this song anyone's ever done. It's freaking phenomenal. And this one, wow, I didn't realize that my the way my actual tracks of this have each artist listed. So Divine Bloodlines was by Akira Shoji. Dark Desires was Tomoko Sano. And this one we're doing right here, Vampire Killer, this remix was done by Mikio Saito. So here comes Vampire Killer from Rondo of Blood. Again, crank this one, because this one freaking rules. So the one thing that I have to say this one has over the Super NES game is that this goes into what was that song called? It's from the first game. I can't remember it, but that it like zips into that other track for a bit at the end, and then it doesn't naturally loop. It just friggin' ends. And then, if I remember correctly, when you're playing the game, it just once it ends, and then it just fades out, then starts the song over again, which is just a tad unnatural sounding, but that is the nature of old CD-based games from back then. You know, you would get these tracks that just didn't loop naturally, but that was the price you would pay to get this glorious MIDI CD quality sound, which the energy in this track is so freaking good.
Yeah, it's a really good remix, but I agree with you. Super NES has the best version of it, hands down. But this is still a lot of fun.
Yeah. Super, super fun. And I love the little extra bit at the end of this one. And again, it's so weird because the Super Nintendo game is directly adapting this stuff, but it's just doing it with Super NES sampled instruments as opposed to, this just straight MIDI stuff. It's such an interesting comparison, comparing those two soundtracks next to each other. And I don't really remember what the next Castlevania release is. I'll have to look that up while we're listening to one of the other tracks. So I know what we're going to do next year, because I don't think Dracula X was right after this. I think there was some time before Dracula X made it over to North America, and I think there was at least one other game before that we're going to get to, but I could be wrong. I don't know. Either way, a great rendition of Vampire Killer, one of the best Castlevania songs ever. And now it is time to move on to the next one. This song is called Cross of Fear. This is, if I don't miss my guess, this is an original for Rondo of Blood. There's like one or two others that I can never remember if they showed up in this game first, or if they showed up in, like, some songs showed up in Bloodlines first, then I just get a little screwed up in that. But either way, this song is called Cross of Fear. This is by Kaizo Nakamura, and it's freaking good, which is why we're listening to it. So enjoy. Sick guitar solos. Just the sickest. Love it. So I did a little poking, and it looks like, so where we're at right now, we're on Rondo of Blood. The next one is actually Bloodlines for Sega Genesis, and then you get Dracula X, and then Symphony of the Night.
There you go.
So, oh boy, next 3 years are going to be sick.
I like it next 3 years. I live my life 3 minutes at a time, and you're out here talking about 3 years.
I'm looking at all the Castlevania games that we're going to cover. Like, it's so weird to think that, like, we're going to do Symphony, and then, like, the year later, if we're all still alive, we'll be
right.
And doing this, we'll be doing Castlevania Legends for Game Boy, it's so weird that game came after Symphony of the Night, because like, holy cow, what a weird step back. But then we get to Castlevania 64, or just Castlevania for Nintendo 64, which is a much maligned game that does not deserve the hate that it gets.
I have to agree with you.
Yeah, it's like, look, it ain't perfect. No 3D
No.
game was back then, but for what it was, I beat it. I played that game through to conclusion. Like that game was good. I never really got through Legacy of Darkness. That's why I really wish they would release those on modern systems. But that's neither here nor there. Cross of Fear, sick guitar solo at the end. Again, a song that doesn't quite loop, just kind of, it ends out in some thrashing guitar licks. But all in all, really, really cool song.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you could sit here and maybe poke fun at the cheese of the guitar solo, but that's that crossroads I was talking about, where like Castlevania spooky meets, Japanese pop. It's fantastic. It's like the right amount of everything.
Yeah, I 100% agree. It's just wonderful. It does have the cheese factor, like, yes, but I mean, who doesn't love a bit of cheese? Like Halloween there's a decent amount of, like, we're talking about the Monster Mash here, right?
Yes.
Funny story. So I went to go see Vampire Weekend in concert last weekend when they so it came time for the encore, and they come out and they said, so what we used to the show's over. Like,
get out.
The show is over. This is not the show. And I was like, when they finished the show, like, really strong, they did this song, and then they had this whole like exiting routine, like, as the song, get effectively faded out, each person would like stop playing and then take a bow and walk off the stage. Like, that's kind of a perfect ending. Like, they really did that well. So what they used to do was they would take requests, and people would request their songs, and they'd just play them on the spot based totally on requests live from the audience. But they said that became too easy because they would only request Vampire Weekend songs. So they now exclusively take requests that aren't Vampire Weekend songs, and they just figure out how to play them live on the stage.
That's really impressive.
It is, because like, they were absolutely not afraid to completely destroy certain songs. Like, they went so poorly some of the time. They played all kinds of stuff. They played like Don't Look Back in Anger by Oasis, and they would just play like a chorus or something. They played a bunch of 80s songs. Someone requested the theme song to The Office. Somebody did requested the Monster Mash, and they played that, which was a disaster. And that's then
great.
Right after the Monster Mash, because they were trying to figure out the first chord for like a while, so he kept singing the first line of the Monster Mash, was working in the lab, blah blah blah. And so the next song was that someone requested was Karma Police by Radiohead.
Oh, wow.
So naturally, once they figured out the music, he started singing the Monster Mash lyrics over Karma Police.
Goodness.
Oh, it was a really good show. It's a really, really, really good show. But either way, it's time to move on. It's time to cross a fear into the cemetery. This next track is Cemetery, and I believe this is another original one for this game. I don't think this has appeared anywhere else before this. You'd think we'd know this for sure, seeing as we've been doing them all in chronological order. But I get this game and music that first appeared in this game and Bloodlines mixed up all the time, because both of these games I didn't play until way later. Like Bloodlines, I played for like 5 minutes in my Funko Land when I worked there, and I didn't care for it at all. And I didn't play through the game until years later. So these two in particular both have this weird thing. They came out around the same time, but I didn't play them until way later. And a lot of songs that show up in later Castlevania games, like Symphony and the Game Boy Advance and DS games, came from both of these games, and I didn't necessarily know it. But either way, this is a cool song. It's called Cemetery. Please enjoy. That was Cemetery. How'd that one grab you?
By the throat and throttled me. It's great. Um, it's I love the use of the synthesizers. The layering, not just that main melody, but the layering where it creates that atmospheric sound you get in a lot of the newer stuff. Excellent track, absolutely excellent track.
Yeah, same. Hardcore agree. This is really a really fun song. I want to say this takes place in some underground caves. I feel like that's where this one belongs. Guys, I recognize this song from Dracula X as well, and it is excellent on all fronts.
Yeah,
absolutely. Moving on, this next song is called Slash. I'm trying to remember which one this is. I honestly can't remember what this song is. That's kind of exciting to me. So anyway, here's Slash. Enjoy. Yep. Just more kick-ass music. Yeah, that was a good one.
I do love that lone guitar at the end.
Hmm. Yeah, it's
It's
pretty awesome.
it's got such like a kitschy sound to it, but it's great.
Yeah, I don't know. This one kind of faded into the background the longer I got into it, but it's just a really good tune.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. I think I caught the loop somewhere, and like you said, it faded into the background a bit. It's great. It is, regardless. Just
Yeah, it didn't fade
of
in the background in any bad way. It just faded into the background of just like, man, I wish I was playing Castlevania right now.
right, yeah. Like I wish I was listening to this because I was playing. Not that I don't like doing what we do, but I agree with you. Yeah.
Well, anyways, time to move on. It's time to move on to a great track. This is Bloody Tears. This is from Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest. This is a great remix. This was, I think, the first time I had ever heard this particular song played with a pipe or with an organ, and it just made the most sense in the universe to me. No, that's not. Super Castlevania 4 had it. It just sounds so much better here. This is wonderful. This is Bloody Tears, another all-time classic Castlevania tune. Mikio Saito did this one and knocked it out of the park. So please sit back, enjoy. Okay, so first of all, the way this kind of it's weird that this one doesn't actually just loop because it kind of does, you know what I mean? Like it goes into that trail off kind of thing where it slows it down and the pipe organ comes back in and it's just masterful. There is nothing I don't like about this rendition of this song. It's so good. It captures every ounce of energy that the original NES one did. Just ramps it up to the nth degree. I think it's just a masterfully put together track. I love it to bitty bits.
There's no question that this song is by far and wide one of the best pieces of music ever written. Period. I will fight you.
Whoa.
I'm very serious. This song is among one of my favorite written pieces of music. Period. And I mean that because it exists in a world with bands like Pink Floyd. It's such a great piece of music, and I have yet to hear a bad version of this song. This was really good. The way the choice is made, beautiful. It's still true to the original work, but it's like when you renovate a room in your house. It's pretty much still the same room, but you've given it a nice coat of paint, perhaps a new rug. It just it's beautiful. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, it's strange to call something this like kick-ass beautiful, but you're 100% right. That's the word for it. This is just a beautiful piece of music. And this is one of its finest forms, if I do say so myself.
Yep.
So how in the world do you follow something like that up? Well, you follow it up with something called ghost ship painting. This, I believe, is another original, and it is freaking good. It's also nice and spooky. So strap yourselves in for some ghost ship painting. Enjoy. Yep, there you go. I like that one a lot. That one's awesome. That one's so cool. The what is it? Marimba's not the right word, but some like very woodwind, hammery sounding instrument.
Starts with a C.
Castlevania phone.
There it is. I love that you can read my mind. I'll come up with it in a minute. I know it's marimbas is close.
It's a karimba.
Oh boy. Sometimes I think, you know what? I've had a good run. And then you go and say something like that, and I think I've definitely had a good run. No.
I have a reason to live, and that reason is to shut this bastard up.
It's to judge him not so silently.
Oh man. But regardless, this has a really like cool, because that sound kind of evokes like when you think of old, I don't know if horror cartoons is the right phrase, but like skeletons playing xylophones on their own rib cages, like that's just what that sound reminds me of.
Mm-hmm.
And, it just gives, everything about this has this wonderful spooky effect to it, and I think it's marvelous. This is a really, really, really cool song.
I'm sorry, I'm reading a list. So you're either thinking of like, marimba, vibraphone, or clavi. But I feel like clavi's not the full word. Clavi. That's not how you spell that. Clavinet? Yeah, clavinet.
Look,
Maybe that's
I mean, I'm going to believe whatever you say. So
sure.
you could be making this up right now, and
I'm
I'd
not.
never know.
Then the internet is blatantly lying to my face.
Well, the internet's really good at that. For
Nuh-uh. Everything I read on the internet is true, Chris.
100% factual.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No, it is not a clavinet that you're thinking of. It's probably the marimba.
Either way, works wonders on this particular song, which is excellent, exquisite, even.
Oh.
Exclamation point.
Boing.
Exculpatory.
I hear you. You got more? I'll let you go.
Extremely ready to move on to the next song.
Oh, you are exactly right.
Oh, I'm a pill. So the next song we'll be listening to is Illusionary Dance. What is this one? Oh, Illusionary Dance. Right, I know which one this is. This is the Dracula theme. So this I believe this is where this song first came from. And this is a song that, if you've played Symphony of the Night, this is when you're fighting Dracula in the beginning of the game. This is the song that plays there. It also plays through for various Dracula encounters throughout the rest of the series. Genuinely fantastic stuff. This is a really great tune. Even taken away from like the basic melody of this has been reprised, I think, in a couple of different areas too, in Symphony of the Night in particular. But this is a great tune. So yeah, Illusionary Dance. Here you go. Enjoy. And look, I know this is fighting Dracula in this game, but because of my own history with Castlevania, that's never not going to be the intro to Symphony of the Night. It's just never not going to be the intro to Symphony of the Night. That's just what that song is to me. Which isn't, that's not a bad thing.
I was about to say, there's a lot of worse things you could be called. You know?
Seriously.
Yeah, what a... Again, another beautiful piece of music. I do love that kind of the snare rolls in there, give it that bit of militaristic feel to it. It's fantastic piece of music for just one of the best series that exists.
Yeah, really hammers home the epic nature of this particular battle as well. This is again another like that last boss music we listened to. It's just such an orchestral piece, right? Which again in this game, there is that's not every track has been there's a lot more rock influences in a lot of this soundtrack, whereas this one is just super orchestral and awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say the other ones aren't awesome, just they're not as they're a different kind of awesome. They're a different flavor of awesome.
I've recently taken to saying things like both can be true.
Both can be true. That's what they tell me. Any hoosers. Well,
Yes, sir.
let's keep going. So it looks like we've got one last track. This one is called The Nest. No, sorry, we have two tracks. And I don't know why they're after Illusionary Dance. I think maybe these were alternate path stages, which is why they wound up here in the soundtrack. Either way, they're both excellent songs. And I can't say that I understand the name of this next one. It's OP13.
Maybe it's like, I read it and I was like, oh, that's a classical thing. And now, of course, I can't remember what it was that I was. So I'm useless.
It's Outstanding Pasta.
I love Outstanding Pasta. It's like my favorite thing in the whole wide world.
It's definitely my favorite kind of pasta.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like that average pasta.
No, none of that average pasta nonsense. We
Not in this house.
Only have. That's right. In this house, we only have the Outstanding Pasta. So here's Outstanding Pasta 13. Enjoy. That is a freaking catchy piece of music right there.
It really was. I thought something happened.
No, just that was no. So this one gets stuck in my head a lot, actually. This is one of those songs that just kind of randomly pops into my brain and won't leave for days. And I'm not complaining because it's a lovely tune, but it's definitely one of the catchiest Castlevania songs I think ever. It's just got such a hook to it, you know. It's that they don't make them like that.
They don't make them like they used to.
They don't. I mean, they don't make Castlevania games at all.
What was the last game?
Oh God, I don't know. It was, I think, that mobile game nonsense.
Oh, I don't even know what that is.
It's mobile game nonsense. It was bad. It was on Apple Arcade, and it was originally a mobile phone game that they ported to Apple Arcade, and it did not. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever played in my life, right. Which I know, high praise, but. But at the same token, it was like, this could have been a lot better. It definitely could have been a lot worse, but it certainly could have been a lot better. And that's not what you want out of your Castlevania games, especially when they haven't made anything original and new for just such a long time. I don't know. The Grimoire of Souls, I think is what it was called.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I did a trial period of Apple Arcade just to play it. And I messed around with it for a few minutes and thought to myself, this really isn't terrible. It's just, it also wasn't very good. It was just very, very average. And it did this whole like multiverse thing of, you know, here's all these characters from various Castlevania games meeting up with each other, and y'all have got to team up to beat the bad guys. And I don't know, it's certainly not what I want from a Castlevania game.
Yeah, Castlevania is anything but like bland. It's anything but cookie cutter. I personally think. I feel like there's been a lot of great. It's tough to make a 2D side scroller. Every single time do something to push the envelope, to push the genre, to push the franchise. But I think that they've done that very successfully for a very long time. So I can see how that, mobile game is. I mean, first of all, mobile version of an IP like that, you already know it's going to be, you kind of already have an idea what you're in for, but.
Which isn't to say that mobile games are all doomed to be bad. Like, that's
Sure.
absolutely not what I'm saying here. It's just that this one in particular, it was exactly the kind of, when you think mobile game, the negative connotations that go along with that, that's what this was. It was very that. It was very, microtransaction-y. It was very, very Konami. And that, I don't mean that necessarily in a good way. It's a very modern Konami, which is leaves a lot to be desired.
Right. Well, at least, you know what? At least they have such a deep back catalog of just amazing games that you kind of go, yeah, you know what? Every now and again, a clunker is bound to,
Yeah,
happen.
I mean, the company has been doing a lot lately to improve its image, and I greatly respect that. They have been re-releasing far more games out of their vaults that have just been kind of sitting there for a long time. They've been doing a great job with these Castlevania collections. They just did the Rocket Knight collection, the Metal Gear Solid collection. Wasn't perfect, but it was, I had no problems with it. I know a lot of people had some issues with the Solid 2 not running at 60 FPS, and great, get it. I get it. The original version did. This new version does not. There's not a great excuse for that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I know emulating PlayStation 2 in particular is one of those kind of difficult things, and I really don't know what Konami's actually working with as far as like proper video game staff. So really, who knows? Any number of things could be contributing factors to the why that game wound up the way that it did. But regardless of anything, Konami is putting forth considerably more effort recently than they have for quite some time, and that's pretty cool. That's I like to see that. So I don't know what I'm trying to say. This is a good song. I've lost the plot at this point.
We're in that part of the episode.
Yeah, it's that time to sop up the blood and entrails and call it a night. And that's where we are. That's what we're doing. We got one last track, and that is called The Nest, which is another very good song. So please enjoy The Nest. there you have it. The Nest.
That's quite the wind down.
Yeah.
I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah. I liked it too. This is a great soundtrack. This is a great soundtrack for a very good game. And it's really making me want to play Castlevania. Which I wish I had the time for right now, but I sadly do not. I do not have the time to play Castlevania right now. And that is upsetting.
You know, I get it, right? I get it, because I'm stuck in a weird loop now with video games where I don't know what I want to play, and there's a mounting list, and yet I can't even play anything anymore. I play like 5 minutes and I start to get sleepy. I'm like, well, all right, time to go to bed.
Yeah, so I got the new Zelda game came out last Thursday, and that's all I want to be doing. I'm just super busy with work, which is what's killing me, because it really, as much as I want to play Castlevania, there's a new Zelda game in my house, and it's freaking great. But I'm 2 dungeons in, and it's so good, and all I want to do is play it. But sadly, I have a lot of other work that I really need to get done. I'm behind on like everything. I'm most of the way through. Now I'm about halfway done editing my the current Mario history video that I'm working on, which is the video that incorporates Super Mario 64, which is like there's a lot of history to talk about there if you're going to talk about Mario 64 to put that in historical context. So, that's what I'm doing instead of just sitting on my butt and playing Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, which is so good. It's so good. Let's sigh.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right, so that's going to wrap things up for Castlevania. Castlevania Rondo of Blood. It is definitely a classic that has earned its reputation. I don't personally think it's earned quite the reputation that it has. I think it's a very good game, but I think there are better Castlevania games out there. Either way, I'm so glad we finally got to this one, because this was a lot of fun to listen to. Because it's an awesome game with an awesome soundtrack, and it's a great way to kick off the spooky season. I'm feeling much more spooktacular than I was before we did this. And
an hour and 20 minutes ago.
Exactly. And that's what you want, right? You want to feel more spooktacular at all given moments.
I mean, that's how I live my life personally. Now I understand that it's not for everyone, but it's October, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, you wake up in the morning, you think, what can I do that will make today spookier than yesterday?
Yep.
As long as it's not murdering your neighbors. I can't recommend that, generally speaking.
As much as you may want to, you definitely should not.
It's frowned upon in most establishments. Murder is generally considered bad. Boy, it's impossible to stay on the rails. Rails they're just gone. There's no keeping them. So we're just going to give up and say that is the end of our show, because it is. That's the end of the show. Thank you for listening, everybody. Where the hell did my script go? There you are. And we're back. Yes, join us next time for our other October tradition, the Halloween Spooky Special. This is the 10th one, which will be released on Halloween for everyone. So no early access on the Spooky Special. Everybody gets it on the 31st, and I think it's shaping up to be a pretty solid one. I am happy to take any requests. So if you have songs that you think would go well in the Spooky Special that we haven't listened to before, please send them my way. I do have 10 solid tracks right now picked out, with a couple of eerie stuff from some recent games too, which is fun. But I don't play everything, so if you've got some interesting ideas for some good spooky special music, send them our way. And that's that. We here at WaveBack are incredibly grateful to everyone who listens, and we love communicating with you when we can. We have a couple of ways you can do that. There's the Geekade Discord channel, in which we have a WaveBack chat where we frequently discuss all manner of stuff related to video game music and whenever our next episodes are going to be. Of course, you can always still send us an email at mail@geekade.com, which is a great way to let us know what songs you want in the Spooky Special. And while you're at it, check out all our social media channels, which you should totally follow, like, and subscribe to if you haven't already. WaveBack and other Geekade podcasts are made possible thanks to the Geekade Patreon page. There, patrons can get access to a monthly podcast topic and recording schedule, get early access to most of Geekade's shows, including this one, and more. If you've enjoyed our podcast over the years, follow the link in the description and give it a look. We really appreciate it. Finally, as always, be sure to check out all the other great content we have on our site over at geekade.com. With that, we are going to leave you with a track called March of the Righteous. I'm pretty sure this is the ending music. It's been a while since I played through this one. I know YouTube is a resource, but I'm going to guess anyway and say March of the Righteous is the ending music. So please enjoy it and have a happy and safe October, and we'll see you on the 31st for Halloween.
Boo.